Hi everyone and welcome to a new Path of Exile video. In this video we are going to talk about magic find builds. It is possible to do a cheap magic find build, and what do you farm with a magic find build? This is a very old build and it consists on stacking increased item quantity and increased item rarity through some uniques. Some of them are the Windripper bow, the Bisco leash, the Bisco collar, the Vendor's grumble, the Sadima's touch, the gold whip. This build is meant to be very fast on clearing maps, and usually you farm raw currency and divination card with it. The cost can range from 2-3x's to even 2 or 3 mirrors. Lightning arrow is the most popular skill for this build, but you can also use ice shot, tornado shot, and some versions uses a wound with kinetic blast and power siphon. Let me do a breakdown on the equipment you can use. And later I'm gonna show you how much I spent to get started, the passive tree, and how to juice your maps. Okay, we are in Path of Exile trade. This is an add-on better trading. It saves the searches on PoE trade. I have a video about it in my top 3 tools you should use. Go check it out. I'm gonna share with you my magic find folder so you can find everything very quickly. Let's start with the bow. Pretty much mandatory. 6 link is gonna cost you about 3x salt. If you look for a 5 link, it's gonna cost less. You can also buy a non-linked one and then buy a harvest link on TFT Discord for about 10 cows. Regarding the quiver, I use a random quiver for leveling. You can use a Here's Demise for about 30 cows. A very good quiver which will improve your DPS a lot is the Void Fletcher. So a good one without bad modifiers, you're gonna pay 50-60 cows. A very good one is one with the without arrow pierce. It's gonna boost your damage even more, but it's very costly. For the body armor, the best in slot in my opinion is the Here is Ire. It costs about 2.2 exalted. It gives you a chance to suppress spell damage, with which in our build is also increasing our crit strike. A lot of evasion and damage, cold damage. Alternatives for these are the Grid's Embrace. A lot of people are using these because it further boosts the increased quantity and increased rarity of item found. But the problem with this, since we are using all uniques, is pretty hard to cap our res, and this is decreasing our resistance, our fire and lightning resistance. Also, one I used till I got the Higher is Higher is the Queen of the Forest, which gives us a lot of evasion, maximum life and resistance. Movement speed is very useful till you get level 80 plus and you got everything you need. And this is also very cheap. In the same way as the bow, at the beginning you can go with a 5 link. You are farming white maps and you can do with a 5 link. You can buy a 5 link way cheaper than this. 6, 10, 15 cows, 20 cows, you got one. Regarding the helmet, you have many choices. The best in slot in my opinion is the Asenath enchant. It costs 2.5x with the lightning arrow enchant, and it triggers a socketed spell when you attack with a bow, which is very strong. We are gonna use it for the sniper mark. Without the lightning arrow, it costs around 1 exalted orb. Some alternatives, I would rather have an helmet, a weaker helmet with the lab enchant on it. Some alternatives may be the fractal throws to boost our elemental damage. It's too exalted with the lightning arrow enchant. Without it is very cheap. We can use the Devoto's Devotion. for some increased movement speed and a good chunk of armor and evasion. We can use the rat nest for evasion and boost rarity of item found. We can use the star conja for life and vision. And the one I'm using right now is the alpha soul. For the aura gems, cold resist, I really needed that, and the vision. Also I have the lab enchant on it. See, it's pretty cheap compared to the Azenat chant. Okay, regarding the glows, they are pretty much mandatory. The Sadima's touch. Try to get one with the max increase item quantity. They are about a 30 chaos orb. Boots, Goldworm. With max item quantity they are really expensive, 1 exalted orb. If you want you can go like for 15 item quantity to start with, and they are 10-20 chaos orb. Let's move on with the amulet, the Bisco collar. You can find one without corruption for 10-20 chaos. Then we have the belt, the Bisco leash. Try to aim for a high strength and high cold res roll. You can buy it for around 10 chaos. The rings, we use the vendor's grumble. They give you a lot of resistance, maximum life, and increase item quantity and item rarity. Beware, the mods on this item can go negative. So in my search here I already have some value. These are good base value. Also, this kind of item, sometimes people don't really know how to price it, so if you keep looking, maybe you can get some very sweet deal. If you don't have problem with the resistance, you can also go with the Pariat. The Pariat is an unset ring, and based on the socket color, it gives you a different effect. We want the white one for the increased item quantity. It costs 1 exalted orb. Moving on with the jewels, we are using a Lioness Fall for this build, and is pretty cheap. I'm gonna show you later where to put it and why we are using it. Another one is the Brutal Restraint. I'm using this one till I get some good currency invested on my build. I'm gonna replace it later, and this is also pretty cheap, 20-30 chaos. Another good jewel which is very expensive is the Inspired Learning. It's 4.3 exalted now. It's not really mandatory, but it's very sweet. Beside that, if you want to use some random jewel, you can go with some of these modifier: increase attack speed, critical strike, added lightning and cold damage to attacks or bow attacks, and maximum life. Some flasks. The Dying Sun is pretty much mandatory. It skills fire 2 additional projectile during the flask effect. Very strong. Another one which I'm not using is the Vessel of Vinctar. It gives us a good amount of damage. Eventually you can replace the quiver with a rare one. You are looking for a modifier similar to the jewel, so attack speed, critical strike, added lightning and cold damage, life, resistance if you need them, increase elemental damage and stuff like that. You can also look those modifiers on a rare helmet eventually. And between the quiver and the helmet you should be able to cover everything you need, so the other equipment can be exactly this one to maximize your item quantity. This is the passive tree. The Lion's Fall, we are using it here to convert the dagger and the claw nodes into bow nodes, so we are getting critical strike chance, and we are also getting calling strike with crit. And here we are getting damage, attack speed, and life and mana leech. The brutal restraint, we are using it here, and it's giving us dexterity for each smaller node, and the bigger node is giving us different modifiers. I'm gonna show you in game later. For the inspired learning, you can replace the brutal restraint here, and you get the 4 notables to activate it. Another good place for the second one is this. You can get the maximum power charge, maximum frenzy charge, and maybe this one or this one as a 4th. The rest of the tree is pretty simple. We go mana reservation here. We take some damage, stat, and resistance around. Then we got Cold Mastery Conversion, Flat Life for Life Mastery. We got Precision Mana Reservation, Grace Mana Reservation. Then here we got the Critical Strike chance is increased by the chance to suppress spell damage. Pretty strong. We got increased projectile damage. Then here, Bow Mastery, we got Phasing. Moving up, I've taken the 15 to all elemental resist. If you res cap without this, you can go reduce reflected damage, and with the Pantheon you can get reflect immune. Here we take this node here for life, evasion, and suppress. Spell suppression is critical strike chance for us, so pretty good. If you need extra int or strength, you can get a point here. And then yeah, we got max health, life on kill, and I already show you these nodes here. I also have a cluster jewel variation, and we drop some damage here and here to get a cluster jewel. I'm using an increased cold damage for now. For the notables, just look for increased cold damage, elemental damage notables. And for the medium cluster jewel, we are using an increased critical strike chance. Increased critical strike chance because we want to be as close as possible to 100%. And this is not really min-max, it's just my first take on the build. I played Magic Find the last league, and this is my first iteration for this league. Regarding the skills, we are using Lightning Arrow with increased critical strike chance, added cold, elemental damage with attack, hypothermia, and inspiration. For a single target we are using barrage, but actually I'm thinking I want to try Lightning Arrow with the Siege Ballista to see if I get more damage. Anyway, for now I'm using barrage with elemental damage with attack, cold penetration, added cold, hypothermia, and inspiration. Then we have Herald of Ice with item rarity. Item rarity, instead of using it on Lightning Arrow, we are using it on Herald of Ice, so we can get more damage on Lightning Arrow. Then Portal with Custom Death, Quality of Life. Here we got Sniper's Mark, Dash with Second Wind, and the Blood Rage. For the auras we are using Hatred, Valgrace, and Precision. Void Shot is the effect of the quiver, and Purity of Elements, just don't mind it, I'm not going to use it actually. Okay, let's jump in game. This is my build right now. So I have a Windripper 5-link, Alpha Soul with the Lab Enchant. The Void Fletcher is still with the Arrow Pierce an additional target. This is probably my next upgrade. I've got a Here's Hire 6-link, 2 Vendor's Grumble, Bisco Collar, Bisco Leash, Sadima's Touch, Goldworm. I have a Life Flask, Dying Sun, and then Diamond, Jade, and Quicksilver. Before that, I went for a Queen of the Forest 5-link, this one, Before the Void Fletcher, I used actually this one for leveling, and then I went from this directly to the Void Fletcher. I chose this because, well, I needed cold res, and this gave me some extra cold damage, so it's okay. For the helmet, I went for Devoto's Devotion because of the movement speed and the armor and the vision. So actually, you should see on screen the how much I've spent for everything. So for the Windripper, I paid 40 cows for an unlinked one, and I paid 10 cows for a harvest to do a 5 link. Queen of the Forest, I bought it for, I think I already have it, and I did a 5 link with the harvest. The helmet, I paid 2 cows for it. Satima's Touch, 20 cows. The Goldworm, I bought them for 15 cows at 15, 16 quality, 16 increased quantity. I paid the Bisco Collar 5 cows, the Bisco Leash 7 cows. The Ventor Grumble, actually I spent a couple of days looking for a good deal, and I bought this one for 35 cows each one, which is an insane price. Got very lucky to find those. And overall I spent about 155 chaos orb for the basic gear. By looking at the prices right now and without good deals, you can spend around let's say 400 cows to get everything. Also, yeah, also I forgot to mention the Lion's Fall 10 cows. The Brutal Restraint, I paid 40 cows for it. But especially the Brutal Restraint is optional in my opinion. If you don't have it, you're just going to use a normal jewel and you are fine. Okay, this is the base, the skeleton of the build. You can further upgrade this to a crazy amount of investment. For example, I already show you, you can change the helmet for an as an enchant. You can go with a good corruption Void Fletcher. You can go with corruption Goldworm, double corruption Satima's Touch. You can go with an Headhunter instead of the Bisco Leash. You can go with very good cluster jewels. You can get Watcher's Eye with 2 good mods on it. You can go really crazy about it. And the cool thing is that if you want, you can drop all this equipment with Magic Find and go full Lightning Arrow build, full Ice Shot build, full Tornado Shot build, and maybe do some harder content, 5-way carry and stuff like that. Okay, but what do I farm with a Magic Find build? If you're like me and you didn't spend that much on the build, you can probably farm up to full juiced white maps. And to be honest, to start with is a no. For example, a popular strategy right now is to farm the Nurse card, which is worth 1.6 Exalt, in the Tower map, which is a tier 3 map on Baldur's Rest. The idea is to juice the map and with the increased item rarity and quantity get some the Nurse drop, as well with some raw Exalted Orb. To juice the map, we roll 20 quality and then we hulk the map till we get a good amount of item quantity. Then if you want, you can use a Delirium Orb. I prefer not, they are pricey right now. You throw a Val Orb to corrupt it, and then the Scourge League mechanic is perfect for Magic Find builds, because it gives us more density when you enter the Scourge, and the corrupted stacks gives us more item quantity and item quality, rarity, sorry. And the idea is once you have a map roll like this with a lot of item quantity, you're going to Scourge it to get rare Scourge monster drops additional something, incubators, basic currency, essences, scarabs. And after a couple of tiers, I usually go 1, 2, 3 tiers maybe. You run the map with some scarabs and with Beyond on the map device. Regarding the map sustain, when I'm running one Scourge map, I usually can do one full tier, at least one full tier of the map. So by running 2 Scourge map, I can make 2 tiers on this map. And this is why I usually run tier 1, 2, maybe 3, because in this way I can self-sustain always. And we are running beyond on the map device. It costs us 5 orb. With the scarabs we are about 15 cows for each map. And regarding the scarabs, we are using, if you want to farm the Norse, the divination scarab is pretty much mandatory. It's pretty hard to come by these days. Other scarabs can be strongbox, Helder scarab, breach scarab, abyss scarab are very good. Everything that increase the mob density. You can also run, if you want, alpha mission. They are white, so you are not wasting red alpha mission. And if you don't have any scarab left, because they are quite popular, those scarabs, and you will have problem finding them, especially the divination one and the elder one. I usually run sacrifices to get more quantity. If you want, you can also spend some currency for watchstones. They are not mandatory. A good role for the platinum is increase item quantity, which is a suffix, and many people don't really pay attention on the suffix. They usually watch the prefix, look for league stuff with high roll and sell them. So you can find some bad prefix roll with increased item quantity as a suffix for a cheap price. For example, I think I paid 20-30 cows for these two. Another watchstone you can use is the titanium, with areas contain additional magic monster pack, or there is another area contain an additional pack with a rare monster in it. Just everything that can give you more packs, more density is good with this build. You can also apply sextants to your watchstones to get more packs of monsters. For example, this is the kind of modifier we are looking for. Also this one. Everything that gives you more packs is very good. And the good thing about it, you can use simple sextant, which are very cheap. And this is the result of my last 20 map. I got really lucky because I had an enlightened support drop, Maloney mechanism drop, 2 nurses and 2 exalted. Before this I did 30 maps, around 30 maps, and I got 3 nurse and 3 exalted orb. Right now we got 1 nurse and 1 exalted orb every 10 maps, which is very good. And even if you don't count the enlightenment, the Maloney mechanism, and you count only 1 nurse and 1 exalted orb, you are still making 60 cows for each map. And this is it for today. I'm gonna leave you a small clip of me farming the nurse in the tower so you can see how it is playing this build. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe if you want more content like this, and if you have any question, please leave a comment. I will do my best to answer it. Thank you again for watching, and stay safe, Exile.
mana is